Two women this week have got in touch to ask for my help managing really dominant alpha men in their organisations. And their frustration is these men are really showy. They brag and they boast. One of them opens sentences with the fantastic line, "I." And I mean I, before celebrating the achievements of what are in reality his team. And the women are flummoxed because these men are being rewarded for this. They're getting recognition and promotions internally over them, and they're wondering what on earth's going on. Which makes it the perfect time to have a look at this book, The Authority Gap: Why Women Are Still Taken Less Seriously Than Men and What We Can Do About It, and hear from Mary Ann Sieghart. You really need to listen to this vlog. Let's hear that from someone that the data shows us you're more likely to take seriously than me.
You really need to listen.
So the first question you may have is the authority gap real? Well, gosh, this book is packed with evidence, but there's one piece that I think is really, really compelling.
There is one really scientific way of testing this hypothesis that men are taken more seriously than women, and that is to look at the experiences of trans people. Trans men, so that's women who transition to becoming men, immediately discover that people listen to what they say more attentively, they take their work more seriously, they get promoted faster, they get paid more, and trans women find, of course, exactly the opposite.
And the authority gap is so ubiquitous that even somebody who's been studying it for 4 years like Mary Ann sometimes has to replay events to understand what really happened. Listen to her experience with Andrew Neil and her colleague Danny Finkelstein.
I was on the Daily Politics, and it wasn't until after the show that I realised I felt I'd been given short shrift. So I watched it back, and sure enough, Andrew Neil had gone to Danny Finkelstein first 6 times out of 6. And then several times after I had been allowed my turn, he went back to Danny for a follow-up, but never back to me.
But the question my friends were asking this week is, what are we going to do about it? I suspect I gave them slightly shit advice.
You have the talent. Whether you have the killer instinct is the big question.
But the evidence is actually clear, if somewhat dispiriting. This is Mary Ann talking about what does work.
We have these stereotypes of what women ought to be like, such as being kind and gentle and unassuming and unselfish and unself-promoting. Those are not characteristics that help you get on at work, unfortunately. And they're not the sort of characteristics that you need as a manager and as a leader, because those characteristics are traditionally male ones, and they are being confident and being assertive and showing leadership and being dominant. But as soon as a woman starts showing those traits, it makes us feel uncomfortable, and we often tend to dislike her, and we call her words like abrasive and strident, which we would never use of a man displaying the same characteristics. So it sounds like women can't get it right at all. Fortunately, they can. They just have to work so much harder at it than men. And what the research shows is that what we women have to do if we want to come across as competent and confident is overlay oodles of warmth. If we smile a lot, if we use humour, if we praise our team as much as ourselves, we can just about get away with being taken seriously.
Which is all fine and dandy, but the truth is that none of this will change unless men change.
Most of the points I'm making in this book are about noticing the way your unconscious bias manifests itself. And often the good men aren't noticing it either. For instance, men can easily change their book reading behaviour or their Twitter following behaviour. If they're following many more men than women in their field on Twitter, they can correct that terribly easily. If they look at the last 10 books they've read and discover that 8 are by men, they can actively choose to read a book by a woman next.
So there we have it. Following women, reading books by women, and making sure that you don't always address men first. Are we clear?
Are we clear?
Crystal.
On other matters entirely, I'm about to start a research project with Eleanor Mills and her team at Noon into what is going on for midlife women, their finance, their health, their families, their relationships, all of it. If you've got an organisation with some budget and want to be a part of it, give me a shout. It'll be starting soon. As ever, very keen to hear your experiences of the authority gap, what you've learned, what you've found, your experience as a man, your experience as a woman. Please do share in the comments, particularly if perhaps you've been pushed out of your chair by the dominant male in your life. See you next week.
And I think it's gonna be a long, long time to touchdown.
You really need to listen.
Great authority. Terrifying.